Sorry, I was trying to set that thing up. Hold on, let me get on Facebook. Hey, everybody, what y'all doing? It's Monday. We're going kind of slow.
It's Monday. Money Monday. Hey, that's pretty good. I like that.
Money Monday. Yeah.
Money Monday. Sweet. So
you got us up on Facebook yet? No.
Yeah, I got it.
I don't got it yet.
I got it.
Okay.
So there's Miss Bethany. Hey, Miss Bethany.
I can't see.
Whew, have mercy.
Oh, there we go.
I know, right? It's Money Monday. Money Monday. Hey, Mr. Albert.
Hello.
Every day of the week is Monday.
Hello.
I know, right? I love Mondays. I love every day of the week.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, we had a big weekend, everybody. Hey, Ellie. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Josh.
So it was a good weekend. For those of you who are in cryptogenics and we're following along, there was a lot of big things that happened. We'll talk about that closer to the end of our call.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, I want to give a plug out while Mr. Albert is here.
Yep.
Mr. Albert Thomas started a new book club for leadership. It is a leadership book club. The book that we are actually involved in at the moment is called Unstoppable. And I want to recommend that everybody get that book. It's fantastic. Excuse me. Not only is it fantastic, but it's got some really good stuff in it. As of right now, hey, Richard. Hey, Jesse. Hey, Mafuz. Hey, Jeff. So as of right now, I'm up to like chapter 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know. One of them chapters. Hey, Gloria. And so
you remember in school when they always told you don't read ahead?
But I couldn't help it. I was one of those kids. And, you know, Albert and I were kind of talking about
obviously you still are because you're still reading ahead.
Yeah. I was one of those kids. You know, I'd read the assignment, but I had to read further because my mind would go there. So I had to go, you know. Yeah. But I'd always, but I still would go back. Like if we were doing a chapter a week in school or whatever, I'd still go back and read that chapter so it would be good and fresh in my mind before we went over it in class. But you know, I'm just one of those kids that, you know, you can't tell me don't read ahead because that's exactly what I'm going to do. Whatever you tell me not to do, that's what I'm going to do.
We got a bunch of people on here today. Hey, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, guys. Hey, Sally. Hey, Jesse.
Oh, and Albert put a link up on there to the discussion we had this morning about the book, about chapter 1.
So what I was saying about that is I would love for you guys to grab that book. If you join the book club, that would be great. If you don't join the book club, that's okay too. Because I feel like the relevance of the book and what it's teaching is going to enhance your life, both, you know, personally
as transcend categories.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just be ready to beat yourself up when you first get the book, and read it from your standpoint. Don't read it from other people's standpoint. Okay. Yeah. So
try to use self-reflection.
Absolutely. So thank you again, Albert, for the awesome proposal and for the book club and for leading that and just being the leader that you are. Appreciate that, brother. So
hey, what's Kelly got?
Yesterday. What's that?
Bethany said Kelly's got something. What you got?
What you got, Kelly? I don't see it. What you got? What you got?
Oh, you found Bigfoot. Oh. You sent me a Bigfoot. Thank you.
Hey.
See? So, there you go.
What'd you do this weekend?
Who?
You.
Oh, me. I forgot. Hold on. Let me get back to the screen. Sorry.
It's okay.
I clicked over to my messenger and was looking at Bigfoot. Thanks, Kelly. I don't know. I'll talk to you on Saturday. Then see.
Well, Saturday we were on Zooms from 10 in the morning to 5 in the evening or better.
All day, yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Then I left the house and went out for a little bit, got yelled at. Yelled at some other people. Yeah.
Okay.
So
it was a normal weekend.
One of those, normal weekend. Then let's see, Sunday, I rested on Sunday. I didn't even turn my computer on Sunday. I didn't sit in this chair at all. I was like, nope. Mm-mm.
You know what? I didn't either. And that's part of what we're going to talk about today is, trying to find a little bit of time. You need to reset every once in a while. Like you just really need to push everything away and do something different. And I don't know what your thing is. Like, Joe, I know that you live in a, you live in a very touristy town.
Yeah.
So you're a social kind of a person. So you like to get out and interact with the people and stuff. And that's relaxing for you. I spent most of my Sunday reading different books. Funny thing, you and I were talking, I told you I couldn't do that when I was a kid, and now I can do it just fine. Right. So, we absolutely have to step away from everything for a while, and let the brain just relax a minute. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
absolutely.
You gotta let the brain relax.
Yeah, you gotta let the brain relax. No, I know you're reading the comments, make sure we don't miss anything, and I appreciate that. So on to this week, and what I want to say about this week is Albert really hit the nail on the head when he decided to do the book club on Monday, especially with this book, because it really puts you in a good mindset. Like it gets your Monday started off good and kind of puts you in a place of perspective right out the gate, which is good. Yeah. For those of you guys that are in business, you know that we've got 9 days left in this month. So, you need to pull your bootstraps up, get out there and do what you need to do to pull off a good ending to the month. Right. Joe, I want to talk about this new exchange that's coming out.
The Benjamin thing?
Yep. Benjamin Simchi.
That's it.
Simchi. For those of you who don't know Ben Simchi, I know that myself and Bethany both follow him pretty well. The gentleman has a huge following on YouTube. He's been doing crypto for quite some time. Not only has he been doing it for some time, but he's been in the arena for some time. He's actually a truck driver, and he comes live every morning when he gets his coffee at QT, and then he'll sit in the parking lot and he'll have a live.
That's cool.
He had a big announcement that he's been leading up to for a couple weeks. And I was unable to actually be on that live Saturday because obviously Joe and I were on Zoom from 10 to 5. But I did catch his live this morning. And so I wanted to kind of update you all because I'd like to keep everybody in the know on crypto. It is, after all, Crypto Let's Talk. So there's a new exchange coming out. And when I tell you the name of it, the first thing you're going to want to do is go Google it, because that's what I did. I can tell you that when you Google it, what comes up is another company. Personally, for me, since this new company hasn't launched, the first thing that went through my mind was, oh, that's going to be confusing. Yeah. But then I had to step away from that and think about all the money and time that they've spent over the last year getting this ready. And my guess is, and this is just a guess, okay? My guess is that it's too late to change it now. It would be too costly. Mm-hmm. So the gentleman that is behind this name, the head of this new exchange is David Kurtz. And I believe that his last name is spelled Curts, I think. Maybe a Z. Ben's a little hard to understand sometimes. So he's from the banking industry. He owned several banks, big banks. We're talking big banks. He closed all those banks a few years ago. He is now in crypto, and he has created this new exchange. And this new exchange name is HODLIT, HODLIT. Now, you're probably wondering, so what? We get an exchange or 5 every day. Okay, The big thing about this one is that it's directly designed to compete against Coinbase. You heard me right, Coinbase, against Coinbase, and it's United States. It's a United States-based company, so that's huge. Okay, there are very few of those out there. What I can tell you about it at this particular point is, number one, it's not open to the public yet. Ben will announce when it's open. He's kind of like their spokesperson. They have asked him to give away 1,000 free accounts when they open. And the purpose behind those 1,000 free accounts is going to be to test the market, make sure that, you know, they've got all their T's crossed and all their I's dotted and nothing goes wrong. So that's basically what it's about. After a set period of time of testing, then they will go live for everybody else. So sounds kind of cool. I can tell you that to be in direct competition with Coinbase, their fees will be half the cost of Coinbase or less, but we're hearing a minimum of half. They are also going to have their own card, okay? So a debit card that you can connect to your bank account if you wish. So what's the big deal about the card? Well, the big deal about the card is if you've ever had a bank account, most of you know that if you go in and buy a cup of coffee for $1.25, the bank will round it up to $2 and throw that 75 cents in a savings account. Well, this particular Hodlet card is going to do similarly, except what it's going to do is you're going to be able to tell it to buy Bitcoin or Litecoin or whatever. So you set your parameters, and every so often when it hits a certain dollar amount, it will buy cryptocurrency for you. It sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
I haven't, Richard, and that was the first thing that I thought too. Everything that I've seen so far, there aren't any. And welcome, Richard. There aren't any as of yet, but of course the rollout isn't out. Now, the thing that they say is going to set them apart from everyone else, and this made my ears perk up. Like half the price of Coinbase, you know, that's I like that. The card with the, you know, with the auto purchasing of cryptos, I like that. But this one thing got all of my attention, and that was that they are planning on launching with global A1 customer service, as in you will be able to pick up the phone and call them and get someone to talk to address your issue. Okay. So that is huge, because if you've been in the crypto world, if you've ever had to deal with any exchanges, you know that you could send in an email and it might be months before you get a response. Or never. So
never get a response.
because of that one thing, unless they have something that pops up that I know for sure is a no, illegal, or, you know, some type of fraudulent activity, then I would definitely be very amicable to give them a try, if for no other reason, being able to pick up that phone and talk to somebody and get my problem solved. Like, Joe, we still haven't got your BitPay solved, have we, bro?
No, I just pulled everything out of that account. I just transferred the money out of it. It's still set. I mean, the account's there, but, you know, I still haven't got the card.
So what's the point, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, but I really do need it, kind of. I mean,
what's crazy about it is some people have no problem at all and get the card, for instance, i.e. myself.
Yeah.
I don't have any problems. And then we go to get your card and we can't get it, but we got your merchant account set up.
Yeah, I know. My merchant account's fine. It's just my personal's not on that. And then I just had that thing with Coinbase. I was just telling you about that, where they get my account for $50.
Right.
So, and that account, all that account is for Coinbase. That's it. I mean, nothing else even knows that account exists. You know what I mean?
So it's just a phantom charge.
They took $50 out of it. I'm like, what? So I'm gonna have to go dispute the charge at the bank and go through all that. And like, I saw it when it happened, you know, or maybe like a day later or something, you know, and I was just kind of thought, well, look at my accounts, you know, they're all
right.
And it hit it. I'm like, I thought maybe he was going to back it off. You know what I mean? Like maybe, I don't know, something happened. But no, there's no reason at all. You know, and it says it's an automatic thing, but I'm not signed up for anything automatic. You know, I don't do an automatic purchase. And I didn't receive more Bitcoin. I didn't, nothing went, I don't know.
Right.
You know, so something's screwy. You know what I mean?
Something screwy. And Rich, I agree. You're absolutely right. Coinbase does have a support person that's live on the phone. But every person that I know that has ever had to call Coinbase has all said the same thing. Basically, they were not very helpful, didn't get any resolution. And the person that was helping them said that they would have to escalate it to the next level, of which they never heard anything back from. So, I personally do not have a Coinbase account. I'm just going to go on record to say I don't have a Coinbase account. When I got into this industry a little over a year ago, I was privy to some information that just kind of said no to me. So I never did. I never did open a Coinbase account. What I will say about Coinbase is it is a great place for most beginners to start because they're the easiest, most user-friendly exchange to use in order to do what you need to do. So, nothing against anybody or nothing for anyone, just giving you guys the information as we know it. I personally have some friends that have had some very bad exchanges with Coinbase, some really bad experiences. And I won't repeat those. I will keep them to myself because I'm out of privacy respect for my friends. But I can tell you that it wasn't good experiences, and the amounts of money that they were playing with was high. Right. And they never resolved their issues. And that's been over a year ago. So that being said, I like a lot of the exchanges. I love a lot of the exchanges. I just personally don't use Coinbase.
Which one's your favorite? Which one do you love the most?
Probably Binance.
Give an extra $25.
Binance, probably.
Binance, all right. That's a good way to answer that question. If anybody else.
So, that's kind of a good thing. It is what it is. I feel like our show, Joe and I's show, is really here for information. It's not really about who we like or don't like or trust or don't trust. It's more or less about facts. We try to keep it that way. Every now and then our opinions slip in there, and we'll take the blame for that and say, well, that's our opinion.
So I got a question. Was the setup on Binance hard? Because I don't have a Binance.
It was not. Okay,
because I've got Exodus, but I just opened Exodus so I could have a different Ethereum account.
It was not.
So I could move things around. And I didn't want to move around in the same thing. For some reason, I don't know. You know what I mean? I lost this on Facebook.
Right.
Where am I?
I like Bittrex too.
Yeah.
I also like Hit BTC. There are a couple of them out there that are just and here's why I like them, y'all. Okay, I'm just going to be completely honest. I'm not that geeky nerd person, so when I land on the dashboard, things need to be kind of self-explanatory and easy for me to navigate, or I get lost, or I have to call somebody and say, "Can you help me with this? Because I don't get it." And I'm not the kind of person that really likes to do that. So I tend to try to stay with the ones that I can navigate easily.
Hey, on Mafu's, he's got somebody, his father, and he says he's got a deal.
Okay.
It may be better to use that deal we got, that Cryptogenics has coming on.
Yeah.
Because some people are having some issues with Zeal. Because with the Zeal, it cost $315 and you could only get 300 in there. So you had to make multiple.
If you're a first-time user of the Zeal, yes.
Yeah, so have them hold off.
Allow you to do 300. Yeah.
And because we're supposed to have the credit thing up.
Be up this week, I think.
Yeah, it's supposed to be up this week. So
yeah.
And you gotta think everybody just got back from Tampa last night. So,
yep.
It's giving them a day or so to get busy. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what Bethany told him too. Yeah. So, have him hold off for a second.
I would.
I
would. That way he can just run his debit card. It's much easier. And it's less confusing for people getting in. Here's my take on that, y'all. I would like to make things as easy as possible for new people, and the reason is because if you frustrate people coming out of the gate, they're less likely to continue doing things. Because once someone gets frustrated, their experience goes downhill, whether it's subconsciously or consciously, it still tends to go downward. So if you can keep people in a positive or above that line, so to speak, there's a line. If you can keep them above that line, it's a better place for them to be, and it's better for your business. It's better for you. So we talked about the beginning of the week. We talked about Unstoppable. We talked about Hodl It. You've got something written down we're supposed to talk about. What's that?
Schedule time for profitable procedures.
Very good. Very good. See, and
now you want to explain that?
Krypto
we got to tell
Glow.
the story behind this. Come on, we have to tell the story.
Thank you, Krypto Glow. We love
thank you, Krypto Glow.
We are actually going to speak on this because Krypto Glow spent 30 minutes going back through the recordings to remind us what it was we were going to talk about today.
Even though I had it written down, just like we had talked about, and I wrote it down right here. We already said it twice. Or I said it once. I was like, schedule time for profitable procedures.
Didn't make sense.
Kris like, no, that's not it. I don't even know what that means.
Didn't make sense. Later,
she goes through a whole thing. She's like, you guys need a schedule time for profitable procedures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly what.
I wrote it down. Had no idea what it meant, but I wrote it down.
See, our spouses save our asses.
I'm telling you, you're right. Yeah. Okay. And it's actually a pretty important thing to talk about too. We just didn't have time over the weekend.
It is.
We couldn't dedicate the time to it that it deserves.
And it was so much going on. When cryptogenics has a lot of things going on, it's best not to cloud everybody's heads up. So we were talking, for those of you who were with us and for those of you who weren't, we're going to jog your memories right quick. We were talking on Friday about Bethany's progress in her business and the fact that she had stacked several people up. And because she had stacked those people up, that she was going to need to, schedule in some productivity time, follow-up time. And so the reason that I wanted to readdress this is because here's kind of what this looks like, y'all. And Albert just came back on, and he can profess to the fact that I said this to him a couple of weeks ago. I said, I'm not running my business. My business is running me. And he knew exactly what I meant. He never questioned it. He never made a comment, but he knew exactly what I meant. And so I told him, I said, I'm in the process of cleaning house and getting that taken care of where I'm in control of my business. It's very easy to get stuck in doing the things that we think we should be doing instead of doing the things that we know will progress our business and will make us money. Now, one of those things that, hey, Stephen McCullough, Fork video on the blog. Hey.
Fork videos on the blog.
We're going to get to that in just a second, brother. So he's stealing my thunder. I'm going to have to tell him about himself. No, I'm picking. Love you, Steve. So you need to make sure that you follow up. Follow up is one of the most important, crucial things in your business. It's one of the things that 90% of the time people don't want to do. They shy away from doing it. Maybe it's the factor that they could possibly get a no. I never think like that. The way I approach follow up is I gave this person some information and I just need to know where they're at. Like I need to check in and see Have they viewed the information? Did they get anything from the information? What did they learn from the information? What did they like best from the information? So, go ahead, Joe. That's really where we're at with follow-up. If you can make a mental shift and get out of the fear of following up with people, you will see your business take off in ways that you could not imagine. Okay. Because the average person will expose their business to 10 or 20 people in a month and follow up with 2 or 3. 2 or 3, y'all. Now, I don't have to tell you, there's a big gap between 2 and 3 and 10 and 20. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking from experience, and I used to have this very same problem. That's why I don't mind talking about it. And I bet you, if you got Steve on the phone, or Mike Boggs on the phone, or Kathy on the phone, or Will on the phone, or Jeremy on the phone, or any of the other Pinnacle leaders on the phone, they would all tell you that in the beginning, the follow-up was hard. Like, it was just something about that rejection or the possibility of rejection, right? The phone weighs 10,000 pounds. There's a million excuses. So don't give in to the
don't quite have time to call them back.
Right. I don't have time right now. The conversation will be too long. Never mind, dinner's an hour from now. In an hour, you can follow up with 5 people. Okay? Yes. 5 people. You can follow up with 5 people. So, don't try to close them on the follow-up with your first sentence. Okay? Don't try to close them on the follow-up with your first sentence.
Right.
What do I mean? That means I wouldn't call Joe and say, "Hey, Joe, I'm ready to get you started. Are you ready to go?" That just put up a big old wall between Joe and I, right? And it's solid steel and kryptonite, and Superman can't get through it. All right? Seriously.
Yeah.
What I would do is I call Joe and say, "Hey, Joe, I just wanted to check with you and see if you had time to take a look at that information I gave you." It's a yes or no. And Joe might say to me, and knowing Joe, he'd probably say this to me, "Well, Kris, life got in the way, and I haven't had a chance to check that out. But thank you for calling and reminding me. I'll look at it tonight."
Right.
Okay, great. Or maybe I'll look at it tomorrow or whatever. And so then I would say to Joe, "Cool. No worries, man. I understand. We all have lives. Will it be all right with you if I check back with you tomorrow?"
Right.
You're asking for permission to check back.
Right.
Why would I do that? Well, several reasons. Number one, I want to do that because now when I call Joe next time, he's expecting my call.
Right.
He's given me permission to call. And I've taken that weight off of the phone because now it doesn't feel like it's 10,000 pounds because I know that Joe knows that I'm calling. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Joe?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. And what it does is, it puts you, when you're calling them, in a more, they've asked you to call them now. You know what I mean? You don't feel like you're cold calling them, trying to sell them something either. You know what I mean? You're calling them back, go, "Oh, did you get a chance to look at that? Oh, did you finally did things slow down enough that you could look at it?" Or something like that. And that's always a good approach. It was always weird. The first time I'd ever done any kind of calling and talking to anybody on a phone is when I was in the mortgage business.
Right.
I mean, I got right in it. I mean, just boom. It was boom. Here's the training. This is it. Now just get on the phone and figure it out. Kind of not get on the phone and figure it out, but
I know what you mean. It was trial by error.
He told me what to say. And it was like, okay, But the thing was we weren't cold calling. But you do by leads. If somebody goes on to lowermybills.com or something like that, and that's where you get your leads. That's where everybody gets them. And so you're like. And he's like, don't feel like you're just calling them out of the blue, bugging them, because that's not what you're doing. They've asked you to call. And so you kind of have to have that, and the first thing is, "Hey, you got 5 minutes to talk about this." That was it. And they'd go, yes or no. You know what I mean? And you break it down to them real quick, what you could do to do, because you put in so much information, into the lead thing. And, that's how they all started,
Right.
But you didn't feel, the idea was you were calling them to offer them something that they asked you for. You know what I mean? And once you got your mind wrapped around that, your voice sounded right. You know what I mean? You use it's like you use the right words instead of, or you made the right inflection with the way you said things. You know what I mean? You weren't going, can I remortgage your house for you? You know what I mean? You weren't trying to talk anybody into anything. You're saying, hey, this is what I can do. If you want to do it, cool. If you don't, well, okay, I understand. You know what I mean? But it was like that, you know?
What I hear you saying, Joe, is that your tone was on their level.
Exactly.
Yep. Your tone was on their level. So you were communicating on a level playing field.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yep.
That makes perfect sense. It makes absolutely perfect sense. So other things that are productivity style activities, what are they? Well, I can't speak for everyone. I can tell you some of the things that work for me. When I get up in the morning, I like to have coffee and quiet time. So I'm usually the only one in the house awake. Mm-hmm. I usually sit in front of my computer and I wish everybody a good morning. I put up a grateful quote. I usually look for something from the law of attraction that feels good to me that day, that speaks to me that day. If it doesn't speak to me, I don't post it. So know this, if you're on my Facebook and you read something, it said something to me before I could say something to you, if that makes any sense. So those are things that I do, not because I want to warm everybody else up, but because it starts my day off right. Okay. So it starts my day in a day of gratitude and a day of a good place. Right. So, that's usually the beginning of my day. Then I have time scheduled for learning, for education. Okay. Every day I try to have a block of time that's just about me and learning. And that could be watching YouTube videos on crypto. It could be, going back through the education platform that we have with Cryptogenics. It could be talking with a mentor. I mean, there are a lot of different ways that you should get your education, right? Like, don't just use one source. Right. So there's education, there's exposure. I usually spend an hour to 2 hours a day exposing my business to new clientele.
You spend an hour or so a day exposing yourself?
Yeah, exactly. You got to expose yourself, right? If you don't expose yourself.
I spend an hour or two a day exposing myself to strangers.
Right? So.
Sorry, I had to.
It's all good. It's all good. So, and then, the follow-up. How long do I spend on follow-up? A day, I probably spend about an hour. Just like if you're reading the comments, just like Albert says, your initial follow-up call should never be more than about 2 or 3 minutes, but it should have a sense of urgency. So in an hour, I can touch 10, 15 people. Right. Follow up with that many people. Okay. Now, once they get the information, once you've confirmed they've gotten the information, that's a completely different call. Okay. And that's called a closing call. All right. In my business, I don't know what everybody else does, but in my business, it's a closing call. And usually I will ask that person to give me 20, 30 minutes, tell me what's good for them. I put them on my schedule. I remind them 30 minutes ahead of time that we're meeting at such and such a time, and that's it. So when I go to closing, what is my attitude? What is my mentality? My mentality on my closing call is that this person is ready to come on board with me. Why? Well, number one, if I've done my job correctly, I've given them all the necessary information to where it makes sense to them. Like, they really know that they need to do this, that this is something they want and need in their life. Okay. So I go with a confidence level that says to them, I'm here to help you, but I'm not the hard closer. Like, there are hard closers out there. And if you want to learn to hard close, I wouldn't come to Kris, because I can hard close, but it's not my forte. I prefer to allow people to close themselves.
Yeah.
If you ask the right questions in the right order, they will close themselves. So you should have probably, I have about 4. I held up 5 fingers. Sorry, y'all. I have about 4 questions that I ask, 1, 2, 3, 4. And sometimes I don't get to all 4 of them before they close. You know, the first question is always general. It's always, always, always general. And it's usually, to be honest, it's usually, what did you like best? We kind of hit this a little bit on Friday.
Right.
What did you like best? It doesn't matter if they tell you they like the website is blue. You like that too. Period.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the reason is, guys and gals, you're not embellishing here. You're telling the truth.
Right.
You're agreeing with them because everything about your business you like, or you wouldn't be in it.
Right.
Okay. Now, there are always things that you like more, and then there are some things that you don't like as much. Would you agree, Joe?
Oh, I agree. Yep.
So
you're doing great with this one. I'm just listening.
when you go into that close, you ask what they like best. Well, they said they like the website is blue. Me too. You know, blue's one of my favorite colors. It's a soothing color. It kind of puts me at peace. How do you feel when you see the color blue? So I'm building a rapport. We're having an exchange of conversation, right? They're not on the edge. They don't have their defenses up. Oh God, he's going to ask me to join him, right? No, they don't do that. Because I'm breaking that wall down. I'm connecting with them on a level, right? The second question that I would usually ask, or I normally ask, is, how do you see this business? I don't even use the word business, so I apologize. I take that back. How do you see this information? That's the word I use. How do you see this information changing yours and your family's life? Shut up. Don't say anything else for the next 5 minutes. Seriously. 5 minutes. If you have to, set a timer. I have a timer on my desk. See? Don't say anything for 5 minutes.
I gotta get a timer now.
If you need to say something to let them know that you're listening, you could say, okay. If you need more information, you say, and, you know, kind of prodding them. You want them to open up. You want them to open their arms wide like this and expose their chest. Once someone opens their arms wide and exposes their chest, it's game over. Because now all you have to do is give them the solution to their problem.
Right.
That's it. You give them the solution to their problem.
That's true.
And so for me, closing is fun. I like closing.
You okay? Okay. I'm gonna talk about something here. You go get okay. I was just letting him talk on that because he's pretty good with that one. I was just listening. And I think a lot of it is try and be comfortable and let people be comfortable with you. You know, and I mean, there's different strokes for different folks, though. You know what I mean? And some people, maybe you're more comfortable doing that hard sell, but I'm not the kind of person that ever works on. You know what I mean? I really want. I'll walk off a car lot in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? I'll throw my favorite sweater back in somebody's face. I mean, so I'm like, don't try to. Oh, give me the information. Let me figure it out. You know,
absolutely.
You know, and you know, and the thing is with it is, you want to do business with people you're comfortable with. You know, and that's where Kris is going with all the, you know, with their arms open and, you know, fully exposed, let's say, because they're comfortable. You know, for instance, when I was in the mortgage business, you know, it was most of the conversation. I mean, I'd be on the phone for an hour or more with people, you know, and it didn't take an hour to do all the math at all. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. But, you know, you're sitting there talking to them, you know, and like when I specialized in refinances is what I did, you know, and I just did FHA refis. I was getting people out of all those terrible loans. You know what I mean? I mean, it was like, whoa. And the thing about it was I needed to talk to those people. You know what I mean? They needed to tell me what all was wrong. And I needed to be able to tell them, you know, if I could or if I couldn't, I can fix this. You know, together we can get this done. It's going to take a lot of work on your part. I'm going to need you to fax me all kinds of crap. You know what I mean? And you got to think this was 10 years ago. So we still used faxes. You know what I mean? Stuff still got, you know, where you got to, not everybody had a scanner back then. You know, right now, I don't know anybody that didn't have a scanner or a copy machine in their house because it's what's on your printer now. You know what I mean? But, you know, there was a lot to it and there was a lot of work. So you had to get comfortable with each other. You know, the conversation was never, ever about how much money they were going to save or how it happened they got into it. You know, or sometimes they'd say, hey, this person screwed me around and blah, 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 blah. And I thought the world was going to keep getting better and my house was going to, my $50,000 house was going to become worth $450,000 all of a sudden. You know, not really 50,000, but you know what I mean? My $100,000 house, but $100,000 houses did become $400,000 houses. You know, that's just the way it went. And then the bubble bust. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's not going up to 800, you know, and a lot of this stuff was ridiculous because, you know, I'll always be honest with you, man, if you're making minimum wage, you know that you can't afford a $500,000 home. You know, so they blamed all this stuff on everyone else, but no one wanted to take any responsibility. They shouldn't have given the people the loans in the first place, but you have to have some, you know what I mean? You write down on a napkin, and you used to be able to do stated loans. You could basically write down on a piece of paper what your income was, and you get the loan, period. You know, and then I came in when all that stuff had finished. You know what I mean? And it was like, boom. And so it's like, okay, get everybody out of all this stuff and get them in fixed rate mortgages and get everything right, you know?
Right.
But the whole thing was talking to the people. The conversation be like, hey, what are the kids doing? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. You know, and you're always back on the phone with them because they forgot to send something in or something or this or that, or it's always like that, you know?
Yep.
But get on a level with everybody, you know, just talk to them, you know, and before you know it, you're going to be talking about something completely different. You know, it's going to be 30 minutes to an hour later. And then you're going, oh, okay. Oh yeah. Let's get you signed up on that thing. Yep. You know, it's real simple, you know, and don't rush yourself. Don't be your own worst enemy on this one either. Don't hard sell yourself either. You know what I mean? Don't tell yourself, hey, I got to bring this conversation to a head so I can blah, 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 blah. And I know a lot of people say don't spend a lot of time and move on. Don't spend a lot of time don't pump a dry well. Okay. There's no point in it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you know if it is or not. If somebody's just completely no, you know what I mean? And you know that you've known them, you know that they've never listened to anything anyone's ever said, never made a wise decision that wasn't just theirs and they came up with it. You know what I mean? Because we all know-it-alls out there. Know-it-alls are, God, they're terrible. You know what I mean? Because they know everything. You can't tell them anything, and they've never been wrong. Bad thing is, they're the one you're really trying to help because they're the ones in financial crisis. And you're going, I know my stupid self is just, I know, I don't live in financial crisis. I'm sorry, but I must be the biggest idiot on the planet because that person's got to be a lot smarter than me because they know everything. You know what I mean? But you know, don't try to sell them anything. Don't try to give them money because they'll figure a way to talk you out of it, and they'll make you regret it.
Yep.
They just don't deserve it. No, I'm just kidding. But it's going to be people like that you really want to help. You know what I mean? That are going to argue with you. The person that needs help the most is going to argue with you about it.
You know what's bad is if you can become the best customer service person on the planet, you'll have more people in your team than you'll know what to do with.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's true.
You know,
true.
You treat people the way they want to be treated. You take time and listen to them. You identify their problem and you give them a solution. Isn't that really what good customer service is about? Those 4 keys.
Yep. Notice
I had to hold down that fifth finger. He wanted to fly up there, so I was like, no.
I'm going to learn where the camera is one of these days.
So
maybe I need to get a bigger camera lens so I can see.
You know what? I mean,
I'm messing with this thing all the time. I'm like, where's it at?
You got to spend time on your money makers.
Right.
Okay. Your money makers. And you need I recommend that everybody do this. I just did it. Okay. recently. I will probably do it again at the end of 30 days. But those are great 4 keys to customer service. Thanks, Josh. So, I would recommend doing it about every 30 or 60 days, reevaluating yourself, knowing what your money makers are, where to prioritize your time. Okay. Now, also, I have to set aside time for team building. Okay. Right. So I have to set aside a certain amount of time for team building. Now, team building for me looks a little different than it might look for you at the moment.
Right.
Okay. So for me, team building looks like supporting my team, holding presentations, doing 3-way calls, all those various things that we do, attending corporate meetings, holding Zooms so that our live stream comes in from a remote location. Right. All of these things, that's team building. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm not the type of person that builds team just in my organization. Right. I build team company wide. Mm-hmm. So, and I think, I honestly believe that Albert does that too. And there's some more of us that build team wide. Okay. Mm-hmm. So don't ever be afraid to reach across the aisle and help someone. Exactly. Just because they're not in your business or not directly affecting your paycheck.
Right.
Don't do it.
Most of us don't really know anyways.
Well, yeah.
As far as our setup goes, I mean, you kind of can, but you can't. I mean, but it doesn't really, we all kind of have to. It doesn't
serve any purpose.
Yeah.
Not to help.
I mean, there's so many different levels of experience right now, and knowledge here, knowledge there. And, I get all my knowledge from Kris. I mean,
we're fortunate, Joe. We're very fortunate in Krypto to have that, because we have almost like a ladder of experience in our company.
We really do. I mean, and so many different things too. I mean,
it's amazing.
Like if you want to sell somebody something, watch Steve. And I don't guess you guys have ever got to see that. I have. You know what I mean? And he never talks about anything but that he's actually selling. You know what I mean? Not at all. You can sit there and he's talking about fishing. And he's laughing. Usually if he's laughing, the deal's done. That's what, like in the office, we're like, you can hear him laugh because you can hear him when he laughed. He's loud, But, if you hear him laugh, man, you're like, okay, he got that one. Because you compete in offices. You know what I mean? We had whiteboards and you'd have 20 deals on the board and only one would go through or something, but whatever. You know how it is. But it was all competition, but healthy, good competition.
Right. Right.
Yeah, pretty good deal. So it's, I don't know, selling, sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's easy. And some people just do it naturally, like I wish I could be as good as Rick Ricketts is, but I'm not.
Rick has a level of confidence though, Joe. Yeah. You're talking about somebody that's been walking the streets for 35 years.
Right.
And Rick has been in, that I know of, 5 major companies that I know of. Yeah. Probably more than that. There's just the 5 that I can think of off the top of my head. And he's been successful with all of them. But Rick never meets a stranger. So it goes back to exactly what we're talking about.
Well, now, that's true.
Bear in mind also that Rick is very good at the sort and sift. Okay? Or the hit and run. Yeah. They're the same thing. Hit and run, sort and sift, same thing.
Right.
But he can tell in the first 20 seconds when he meets somebody if they're a person that's going to be interested and want to talk to him, or if they're not. So he doesn't spend a lot of time with the not people,
Yeah,
now, does he land every single one? No. And he'll tell you he doesn't. But his averages are good. And the reason for that is because he's a people person. He wants to connect with people. And so, there you go again with that good customer service, right?
Well, yeah, kind of. It really comes back to it, It really
does. There are people out there that don't have good customer service and they're big leaders, and you hear about them all the time because they're the ones that their downline ends up calling you and saying, well, I'm direct to so-and-so, but I can't get an answer. I can't get any help. I can't do this. I can't do that. You know, that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And as the book Unstoppable would have us to realize, and I'm a few chapters ahead, but as the book Unstoppable would have us to realize is you can never forget where you came from, and you can never get too big for your britches.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
So, you know, with that being said, another good reason and another good plug for you guys to get the book. I think we've talked on that. And that was really a pretty big subject. That's a pretty
it really is. You know, and it was an opportunity. We put some kind of training out there too for people. You know, that's why I was pretty quiet about everything, because I was listening to what you were saying. You know what I mean? Go ahead. Sorry.
Exactly, Albert. I agree. I would say he's 9 out of 10 for sure, because he's so good at his sort and sift, and you know that, and really, you know. Ladies and gentlemen, what I want to close on this training about, because really, like Joe said, it really is a training. What I really like to close, the closing thought of this training to be is this. If you're not getting the results that you desire, analyze your skill set. It's going to come back to something that you're not as good at as you need to be or want to be where you need to go.
Right.
So identify it first, and then find someone who's doing that one thing fabulously. I mean, like better than everybody else. They're knocking it out of the park. And shadow that person, watch their moves, call them, text them, whatever, ask them, can I follow you around a little bit? Maybe it's 3-way calls. We'll just use that for an example. Maybe Joe does a fantastic 3-way call, and I call Joe and I say, hey, Joe, you know, my 3-way call sucks, and I could really use some good structure in my 3-way call. Do you mind if I get on a couple of them with you? Dan Anderson, Bethany. Anybody with any grit, that you call and ask that is going to say, sure, I'll be glad for you to. You know, I've got this one, and this one in the next 3 days. You want to jump on these?
Right.
You know, because they've been there too. They've been exactly where you are. And at some point they needed to hone their skill set. So never, ever, ever be afraid to ask someone that's doing something that you want to do better if you can do it with them. Okay. So that kind of rounds that out. So we got some announcements, Joe, for KGX.
Yeah, we've got go to the blog.
Tell them about that fork, buddy.
Hey, go to the blog. Look at the fork. It forked. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
So if you know about crypto, you know about forks.
You know about forks. If you don't know about forks, it's in your training.
If you've listened to Steven, you know that fork hurt when he got that fork.
Yeah, he got super forked. He got super forked. This time he was talking about forks in public in Tampa.
But this fork is a good fork.
Yeah.
So check your blog. Look for that fork video. Our app.
The fork video explains it all. Watch it.
Our app is very close to being released.
Very close. Very, very close.
We know from the training on Saturday from Tampa, if you were watching, you know that the app is finished.
Yes.
Now, there's a difference in finished and released, y'all. Okay. So it's finished. So I would be looking at the blog again. I would be keeping up with the blog, because who's going to know first? The blog.
Hey, Kris, it's kind of a good idea to look at that blog every now and then, isn't it? Like maybe in the morning when you get up.
Yes, sir.
You think it's a good idea to look at the blog? Oh.
Yes, sir. I think it's a fantastic thing to look at that. Look at that blog. So
instant debit to pay.
Yeah,
that's going to be the thing where you can use your card from the website. So, like he was talking about with the Zeal, you might want to hold off on Zeal for a day or so. You know what I mean? And let him
get really close.
You know, we're pretty sure that's real close. Yeah, every pay step paid $100 if you made a sale during the week. last week.
Exactly. So the one thing that I will digress and tell you guys about the fort, you're still going to have to go to the blog and listen to it.
Yeah, you need to go listen to it so you get a good understanding.
One thing, just one more thing. We're going to tell you one more thing. The fork, if you understand the 3 points, the $25 bonuses, as long as you had a personal sale last week during the pay period, those $25 turned into $100 bills.
It's like that, like
$100 bills. That's what I'm screaming.
100. See,
there you go.
There we go.
3.
Talk about work. Hey, I'm using 3. What I'm working with.
3.
Something like that.
As long as you had 3.
Yeah,
3 for 25. You got 100.
You got you 25. So this week it got you 1, or last week it got you 100. Okay,
yes, sir.
4.
Absolutely.
Okay. Was the 4?
Rick Ricketts, Mr. Stephen McCullough, and Mr. Mike Boggs did a fantastic training. That video will be coming to the blog in the next few days.
On the blog? Yeah, the blog.
As I said on Saturday, all trainings that are video live will have to be edited and passed through compliance prior to being posted. Right. Now, you say, why, Kris? Why do we have to do that? Well, it's real simple. Everything that we say in a presentation, everything that we present has already been cleared through our compliance attorneys and our advisory board. Right. When we are in training, okay, it's a very different environment, and we get thrown questions come at us that maybe we're not expecting, that we answer off the top of our head, and the verbiage.
Well, yeah, there's different laws that apply.
May not be exactly 100%. So because of that, we need a few days to run that through and make sure that it's clear.
Edit anything out if you need to.
Yeah. Right. And that doesn't mean that the answer that was given was wrong. It just means that maybe the way it was said might not fit into that perfect system.
Yeah, so we're all human and not perfect except for the lawyers. They're not human and not in there.
They're always perfect. They're never outside the law.
They're not human. They're lawyers.
Yeah, and they cost a lot of money.
Yeah, they do. So let's make them do their job. How's it? Paying them anyway.
As of Saturday, there had been 82 rigs sold, I believe, and I think that number was from earlier in the week. 72 out of 82 were Green X rigs.
76
Green X rigs. Okay, 76. Sorry.
76 out of 82 were the Green X. Yeah.
Yep. So all good stuff, y'all. All good stuff. Yep. We're rocking and rolling. We're so happy to be here. We love you guys. Joe and I do this because we love coming here and just talking to y'all. Yep. I mean, this is probably, I know, right? This is probably one of my favorite parts of the day. And this is on my calendar. It's blocked out. I don't miss it. I hate when it has to move. But being a dadpreneur, you can't always be 2:00 every day.
That's true.
So, as a matter of fact, I'm not sure that 2:00 is going to work tomorrow, to be honest. I have a 1:00 doctor's appointment with the boy. Okay. So, we may be 3:00 tomorrow instead of 2:00, but we will come live. So the good news here is, guys and girls, Joe and I know how to do this mobily.
That's true.
As I said,
as long as we have service, we're okay. But when there's not service, it's a bit of a problem.
Absolutely. So here's what we need to do. This is what we need to do. We said this on Friday. I'm going to repeat it probably every day this week. I want all of you to get good at being mobile at your business.
Yes.
It's going to pay off this summer. Trust me.
Yes.
You have to practice this stuff. Do not wait until you have to do it mobily to try to do it, because it ain't going to work. Everything that could go wrong is going to go wrong. So start doing your things mobily.
Right.
Okay. Summer, you're going to get invited to pool parties, barbecues.
Go be at the lake.
Park,
I'm going to be at the lake.
The beach, camping. You're going to be invited to all kinds of stuff. And you need to do that stuff. You need to spend that time and make those memories with your family. You also need to be able to hop on and take care of business every once in a while. Okay. Right. So please, please, please don't wait till the last minute. Summer is coming. Spring fever has bit. Winter is over. It's beautiful outside. Let's go outside. Okay. So I don't have anything.
Oh, they're telling me to go outside.
Have one more thing.
One more thing.
One more thing.
I love these things. Okay. Have a great day, everybody. We love y'all. Yeah. Thanks for listening to us. Today was kind of almost really more of a training thing. We didn't really plan that way, but it did. We didn't even know what we were going to talk about when we got started. But we did have that thing written down. And thank you, Gloria.
Thank you again, Krypto Glow, for finding that.
It ended up being the whole show. So yeah.
Bethany really appreciates it and says thank you.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Love y'all. Be good.
We love y'all. Have a
It'll probably be a little bit later tomorrow. Chris got a doctor's appointment.
We'll talk to y'all tomorrow.
Bye, guys.